So as I've stated in previous videos, just because I got a transplant doesn't mean that it's over. It doesn't mean that transplant has miraculously just turned itself around and now they're just fair because one black guy got a transplant amongst, against the odds, amongst all these people against the odds. There's still, even to this day, 2025, there's still huge discrepancies in the amount of one race of people getting a transplant over the other. And what compounds that is skipping in open offers. So for those of you who need a refresher about what an open offer is a kidney that can be presented to anybody. But in order to open offer a kidney, the time on that kidney has to be accelerated to the point where now the transplant center has to find somebody. So then they just pick somebody on their hot list and they give that organ, whatever that organ is, to that patient. For example, if there is a heart, and I'm saying that very specifically, they get the heart in, the heart has 24 hours on it. A transplant center has a specific patient that they want to get that heart. So what they do is they accelerate that time all the way down to a point where if they don't place the organ inside somebody's body, the organ is going to die and go to waste. And then it goes to nobody. They take it down to about an hour or whatever the increment of time is. They pick somebody on their hot list, which is hand-picked patients that they want to get organs, and they give that organ to those patients. Which brings us to Damon Galt. Had some heart problems. He was hospitalized. He needed an immediate heart transplant, or he was going to die. 6 weeks later, after he was admitted to the hospital, Damon died. Because he did not get the organ that he needed when he needed it. That heart went to somebody else on the transplant list. One legacy was the transplant center that was supposed to facilitate the transplant for Damon Galt. So their excuse was, well, we need to get rid of all of these other organs before we get to the heart. By the time they got to the heart, there were 12 hours left. So instead of giving that heart to Damon, they gave that heart to somebody else. Now, One Legacy is a transplant organization out of Sousa, California, if I remember correctly. When the New York Times, who is where this article came from, got in contact with Damon's wife, she put it very bluntly and very simply, it wasn't fair. Now, things like this happen not just because of the hot list, but to cut down on staffing costs. So the faster that they can get an organ into somebody's body, the less specialists, nurses, technicians, and things that they need. So they don't have to pay them to be there. Ultimately, it all comes down to money. The more transplants that a transplant center or transplant organization does, it makes them look better. The better a transplant center does, to my understanding, the better it looks to UNOS and OPTN, which are allocation services that get the kidneys and then distribute them to these transplant centers, the more money they make.